So good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to another album review of The Shield Dude on a Couch. I'm your host, Hector, and today we're going to talk about the third album by the band Necrot, and it's called Lifeless Birth. And this is a band from Oakland, California, who have been around a few years now and are signed to Tank Crimes, and that's a record label that does a lot of, more like bands that are more in the metal underground. And it's cool that there's this type of label. So Necrot, for people who haven't heard them, they have like a very old school death metal sound to them, but with some modern twist here and there. So the band, it's a trio, and the guitar player Luca Indrio, he also sings and he plays a lot of, the structures in the songs and writes a lot of it. So on this album in particular, it's not a concept album per se, but it is exploring a lot of what, like when we are born, we start dying, basically. So yes, it's the cheerful album of the year. I'm kidding, it's not, but it's a fun record with sometimes when people think old school death metal and this type of themes, they think that it's all doom and gloom, but actually it can be quite fun. And on this album, there's two tracks that they have as singles with Cut the Cord and Drill the Skull, which are they're brutal but fun at the same time. So for example, a song like Cut the Cord opens the album, and it has some great riffing to it. And something I like about this track and the other track is the way they deliver the choruses, because they're like, cut the cord, they're very sing-along, even though, they can be extreme at times. You can actually understand Lucas' voice, and that's a good thing because you can sing along to it. And Cut the Cord, basically what I analyze about that song, it opens the album, is, like obviously when you are born, you have the umbilical cord, so you have to cut the cord, and it can be seen that way, or maybe cut the cord of like cut other bullshit in your life. So Lucas' lyrics, they're not quite like that easy to understand, so it can be interpreted different ways. So this album is just 7 tracks, like a 40-minute runtime, and it really does good with the 40-minute runtime, because I think it doesn't overstay its welcome, so you don't get bored with it. So other tracks that I think are great, Lifeless Birth, which follows the first track, I think that one really is very like extreme. The guitars are very pummeling, very fast, and the drumming is quite intense. And that song, it's what I interpret it is all about, okay, so you're born now into this lifeless birth and you start dying. So it's after you cut the cord, then now what? Now you're screwed, now you have to live. So it's quite interesting. And you have a song like Superior, which is all about the people that think that they're better than you. And on that one, again, some great melodic but also brutal guitar playing. And I like it that even though this band can be extreme, I think they do some things with the guitar that you can really like listen to the guitar. It sounds like clean sometimes, and I like that, because sometimes on extreme metal, everything's so harsh that sometimes you cannot like it's like too harsh that it's too much sometimes. So the artwork for this record is I gotta show it. I showed it when I interviewed Luca on the channel, but this is just such fucking great artwork. And when you look at this artwork, you're like, yeah, it really tells you what this album is all about. So you see like the circle of people and the lifeless birth and that creature that's just eating you and something's coming out of the crotch. So it's great. But also like the colors, there's color in this, and usually in death metal, it's all like doom and gloom and not like color. So I think that works. So the artwork is great. So I had to show it again because it's just one amazing artwork that really stands out to me. So my favorite song on this record is definitely Drill the Skull, which is the second single that they released. So this is like a 5 minute and a half song. But what I like about this song is that in the middle part of the song, the 3 minute, like the drums really shine on it. Like the drummer gets to do some things, like some fills, and like he's like a little bit of a drumming solo, and it really changes the pace of the song, which I like it, because before you have like Drill the Skull, and it has like a riff that goes da na 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 and goes like Drill the Skull. But in the halftime, I like it that they change, because the song, if I think if the song didn't change, it would have become a little bit repetitive. But I think that change in the middle really does wonders for it. And I love also the guitar solo that follows the drumming. And really, it's a minute of like great riffing and a great guitar solo. And then the last minute, it goes back into the original riff of the da na 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 and goes Drill the Skull until the song ends. So I thought that was cool. The next two songs, Winds of Hell and Dead Memories, they're not bad, but to me they sound kind of samey, and there's not a whole lot of variation. So they kind of lost me a little bit on that one, on those two tracks, even though they're quite solid. But I think like a little bit variation would have been great. And the album ends with The Curse, which is almost a 9 minute epic song to end the record. And, you know, in old school death metal, when you have a song that is that long, you're like, sometimes old school death metal should not be that long. I think sometimes like 4 minutes to 5, it's like the sweet spot with this type of music. But I think Necrot really works well with the spacing on this song, because first, it has like a slow build up to the song. It's not like super fast, because this is a very fast record. So it builds up until it starts like with more like heavy riffing. And in the middle part, there's also like different guitar solos in different parts, which really gives the song like more layers and space into it. And I like it when it goes like the curse, and then it plays out, because it could have been a very boring song if it didn't have dynamics. But I like the dynamics that they do on this song, and I think it's a great album closer. So my final thoughts with this record is, you know, Necrot is not reinventing the wheel, but they are also doing old school death metal with some, you know, like modern twists. Even in the artwork, they're doing colors, which death metal is usually all black and grim. And I think Luca, as a vocalist, is really good, because he enunciates pretty well. And even in the harsher vocals, you understand what he's singing about. And also, the choruses are quite catchy. That sometimes in death metal, you can be brutal but not have catchiness. But when you have catchiness and brutality hand in hand, you got a winner, my friend. So yeah, the only thing I would like is for the band to explore more variation in their future releases. But I think this is a very solid record. And if you like death metal, you will enjoy this. So I want to know from you guys, what do you think of Lifeless Birth by Necrot? Tell me, what are your favorite tracks? And if you like the videos that I'm putting out, do not forget to subscribe, and do not forget to give me a like. That helps me with the YouTube algorithm to get to more people like yourself. So until next time, people, this is Hector, the Shield Dude on a couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. And do not sleep on the interview that I have with Luca if you want to know more about this record. Thank you and goodbye.